everyone, it's your girl Nisi here with Wild Pear Tarot. Thanks so much for tuning into my YouTube channel. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm a spiritualist, a seer, a medium, and an alchemist that specializes in divination and divinatory tools. Thanks so much for tuning in, y'all, to my channel. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. All right? Woo! It's so good to be back. It's so good to be back, y'all. Wow, it's been a minute. How are y'all doing? How's everybody doing out there? Definitely let me know in the comments how y'all been. I've been resting, recuperating, dealing with life shit. Life has been lifing, dealing with grief, loss, and just finding time to just sit with myself, be with myself, spend time with family, friends, just like live my life, you know? So, but this reading is a new segment that I'm introducing to my Wild Pear Tarot YouTube channel. So I'm going to be doing music predictions, and it will cover the gamut of albums, mixtapes, and EPs. I most likely won't do predictions on specific singles, but I really wanted to focus on the artistry, creativity, and inspiration of a musician and the type of art that they create and the art that they put out for the masses to receive, to digest, to consume, but also share their musical gifts with the world and how that may impact us as listeners, us as fans, us as maybe even new to their music, and to see kind of what the energy is between the art and the artist. So this is a new segment of my channel. I hope that y'all enjoy it. Right now, I most likely won't be taking any suggestions, but in the future that may change. And yeah, so the very first music prediction video I'm doing is gonna be on none other than Big Sean, okay? Detroit's finest. And Big Sean has been, you know, we've been seeing him lately in the news and through some interviews, through some other things, and he's just been putting out some singles in preparation for his 6th studio album called Better Me Than You. Really interesting. I was able to listen to the singles that he put out, checked out his IG, checked out his YouTube to kind of get a vibe and see kind of like what's the branding like, what's the creativity like, what can we potentially expect. And I'm gonna delve a little bit deeper into what can we expect, the sound, you know, maybe some upcoming performances, the impact, not only culturally, but also from where he's at right now in this stage in his life, to also impact in hip hop, right, in his genre of music. And we're just gonna, we're gonna see what's popping. We're gonna see, you know, how we're gonna get into it, boy. All right, let's get into it. We're first gonna get into themes that one can expect on the album. Now, part of these things he already kind of talked about. I'm gonna dive a little bit deeper into them. One of the videos that I particularly looked at that I thought was really interesting was something where he talked about there's 4 emotions. He drew a graph that describes the 4 emotions that he was dealing with and going through, that explains or expresses the mood of the album. And there were 4 specific emotions, and there's actually colors associated to each of these emotions. So the first one is pressure. That's connected to the color red. Clarity is connected to the color blue. Focus is connected to the color green. And happiness is connected to the color yellow. So I thought that was pretty interesting, that he wanted to focus on very specific emotions and colors associated with these emotions, and I guess how it's going to permeate through the album. Spirit, can you provide more context about the theme of Big Sean's album, Better Me Than You, that we can expect as listeners, as fans, and coming just from, you know, his creativity and inspiration? Provide more context and insight into the Better Me Than You album. I immediately picked up, you know, Big Sean has gone through a lot of personal growth. He's still discovering significant parts of himself. There's some deep traumatic wounds that come up, that have come up as he's had to write this album, like just huge feelings of insecurity, the responsibility of being a father and being a partner, the responsibility of his family. I think that's always been kind of like a thorough line or a through line between in his music. Like he's always had to bear the responsibilities of taking care of his family. But this is a much more significant part of his life and gesture of his life, and how it's tied to his music specifically, because now it's about Spirit saying, like, it's about survival for him. It's about survival of his name, the survival of his name, his real name, and also the survival of him as a rapper, as a hip hop artist, as a musician, as an artist. This is an energy of like survival. He's like, I gotta push through and keep going, despite the setbacks I faced, despite the issues I faced, despite all of the contention and the lack of popularity, the questioning about, you know, his stats among the hip hop greats, especially within his particular class. It's very interesting how Spirit is bringing that up. Like this album is really about survival. And these 4 emotions that are permeating the album are all going to show like how much he wants to live and breathe and die in this hip hop thing. This is not, he takes his craft very seriously. Most of his stans and fans, know that. But to probably just a regular, listener of hip hop that sometimes, delves into Big Sean, sometimes might not. It's definitely an energy of, like, he's very serious about his craft. Very, 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 very serious about his craft. He doesn't like the bullshit stuff. He doesn't like the gimmicks that he's seen. And so expect him to talk about some of that. Some of like the gimmicks in hip hop, some of the mimicry in hip hop, people who have, like, he's going to be a bit more forward about people who have taken and bit his style and have been able to progress. I think I heard on one of his singles, like, he was, throwing a few shots at Drake. I heard a few things. The rap aficionados can speak to that, but I heard a few jabs, a few slights And so, but I'm what I'm sensing is that it's going to be a little bit more direct, right? Not that he wants to start rap beef, but it's just like, you know what? I've been very quiet. That may be in the energy of like pressure and focus and clarity, like among those three things. Like probably in those segments of the album where he's gonna be like, yo, I'm sick of the gimmicks, I'm sick of like the mimicry, people trying to copy and steal my flow and my name, and I've allowed it for too long. I let people bite my style, bite my flow, bite my energy, and now I'm taking my energy back. Like, this is me, and you can't take from me, and if you take from me and try to pass this off as your own, I'm calling your ass out on it. So expect that on the album. Let's see here. 9 of Pentacles, 2 of Wands in the reverse, the World card upright, 5 of Wands, 7 of Cups, and the Fool card. And one more thing I need to pull from one more deck. Hold on. I wanted to pull from one more deck. Spirit, show me the overall theme of Better Me Than You, Big Sean's album. What is the overall energy of the album? The musicality, the inspiration, the creativity, the creation of Better Me Than You. Thank you. It can be shadow or light. It can be dark or light, whatever comes through. Better me than you. Thank you. Courage in the reverse. Okay. All right, so interesting how the overall energy of this album is the Courage card, but it came out in the reverse. It's very much him taking a look at his personal fears and addressing some of the fears, and putting this up here so you can see. And it came out in the reverse. It's him addressing his personal fears about life, about his longevity in hip hop, about his impact. Like he's thinking about all of these things. It's interesting that it's his 6th studio album. I'm still learning about numerology, so the numerology girls can talk more about the impact and the importance of number 6. But it's usually 6 is you know, they say 5 is usually a turning point, but I feel like 5 is like one culmination after like a battle of some sort, after like the change. And then the 6 to me is like taking things a step further, like after the battle, after the fight, what do you do now? What's next now? Are you either going to have a victory lap? Are you going to walk away from something? Are you going to move on from something? Are you going to regenerate something? Are you going to give back? Are you going to return to a cycle? There's an energy of number 6 that signals what now, after the fight, after the difficulty, after the pain, as you work through the personal fears, what now, right? What now? And he's kind of emerging in this album, kind of talking about the what now. What has he been facing since these past few years, right? So I think the last album he put out was in 2020. That was his 5th studio album, and you know, that was a time during COVID, and it was a time of great uncertainty and a lot of death and a lot of grief and a lot of sickness and volatility, and also it was expected to be a time of quiet and regeneration, and he didn't really do that. He didn't really do that. He didn't really take that time and that moment to really look at his life. And so this 6th studio album is going to be doing that. This 6th studio album is really going to be him taking an even deeper look at his life through these 4 emotions. One more card Spirit's telling me to draw. Spirit, what else do you have for me? Thank you. Boy, I do it. Yo, Big Sean has so many hits. What the hell? He's been around for a minute. Authenticity. Woo. Huge. Courage and authenticity. These are huge themes in hip hop. Like, are you who you say you are? Are you who you say you are? And some of this may be some messages for y'all who like Big Sean, love Big Sean. These may be some questions that you need to answer for yourself, okay? Authenticity, yeah. And at the center is I am here. So this is also the center, another theme that permeates throughout his album. I have my little selenite wands, okay? So I'm gonna be like pointing and like doing the do, okay? And actually, hold up now. One more thing, a few things I got to put on, okay? Let's put on the tings. All right. So, authenticity. Authenticity is such an important aspect of hip hop, and the way in which it is like central to a hip hop artist. Like, how authentic are you? Now, people who come into the game and want to be like real about their shit, okay? Because you do have artists out there who, do music and are not. They are very inauthentic. They are very much a clown and masking and all of the things that people do to essentially just be under false pretenses and pretend to be something they're not, to get to where they want to go. But for Big Sean, this is a huge theme for him in this album, Better Me Than You. Better me than you when it comes to being authentic, because my life is on the line when it comes to my authenticity, my courage, my ability to transfer fear into, to alchemize, to transfer, to shift that fear into drive. So it's very interesting. He talks about these 4 emotions, but underneath that are these very much deeper core elements of the album that you're going to hear him talk about. Like, these themes are going to come up consistently throughout the album. I'm seeing a lot of like good features. Like, it's going to be people who are about it, people who are authentic, or people who he also deems as authentic to hip hop, authentic. Like, he's not trying to have, again, he's not with the gimmicks, he's not with the mimicry. He's for people who have their own sound, who have their own wave, who have their own, light, their own thing. Like, he respects that a lot. All right, so we got 9 of Pentacles, okay, that came up. The 9 of Pentacles, 2 of Wands in the reverse, We have the World card that has come up. The Five of Wands. The Seven of Cups. And then the Fool card. So this is almost, it's interesting. This is, Spirit is showing me as almost the course of the album, the flow of the album. So, you know, he's going to talk about all the things that he's been able to amass. Like, he's going to talk about the money, the success, the things he's been able to accomplish, like in his span of, you know, being a parent, like all of these successes, all of these riches, all of these, the abundance of what hip hop has given him, what this music, this artistry, his creativity has produced, like the production, the creation of what his musicality has produced. Then he's gonna get into some of these elements of like change, like some of the things where he's like been feeling lost, feeling like he's unsure of himself, the uncertainties of life, the fickleness of life. Like, he's going to talk about the fickleness of life. He's going to be talking about elements of where it's like, damn, I'm hearing like, damn, I can't, like, so many things are changing and I can't get a grip on all of this change. It's like there's so much stuff that has changed in his life, and it's almost like it's hard for him to accept it. There's like hard for him to get a grip on certain things in his life. And then endings. He's going to talk about endings. He may talk about I don't know if a family death, I'm not sure, a specific, or just like, I don't know. I feel like there's going to be a component of him. He always tends to talk about his parents, you know, his mom, his dad, like siblings. Like, he always seems to talk about family. And this album is going to be no exception, but he's thinking about like the legacy. He's thinking about the legacy. The legacy is so interesting. Like, as the world turns, like as the world keeps turning and the years go by, I have to be thinking about like, what is my family going to leave behind? What am I going to leave behind from my family? You know, he's considering that, he's pondering that, he's thinking about very deep things about that. Then he's going to get into his, I'm that nigga. I'm the one, I'm that dude, don't play with me, don't fuck with me, I'm that dude. Okay. Five of Wands is like, you wanna, you know, you wanna go? Like, I'm that dude. Like, don't even act like I'm not the shit, cause I am. Like, it's gonna be a bit, you know, he gonna brag, he gonna do, I feel like there's gonna be a good feature with that, like, or he just gonna be talking shit. That might be a hit. That one might come through as like, people be like, aye, you know, I don't know. It's like, it's gonna be a bit hyphy. I don't know. It's just gonna be a good vibe. But also like where he gets to talk his shit. And then, he's going to be talking about pleasure in a way that's interesting in terms of like, man, I can't seem to decide. Like, he may talk about his relationship with Jhené Aiko or like the feelings that come up in terms of him maybe like looking at other women, considering other partners. Like, he's going to be a bit spicy on this one. I think fans may be shocked about it. I don't know. They may be shocked. They may be not. It may bring up a lot of like, you know, just because I think he had a recent interview with Charlemagne the God and was talking about why he's not ready to commit to Jhené Aiko, you know, and I think he had said something about there are certain things that got to be worked through. But anyways, he is potentially like another theme that may come up is him talking about the pleasures of life and him indulging in those pleasures, and certain pleasures that he used to indulge in, he can't indulge in no more, and how he kind of misses it. So, okay. Like, you know, he misses the multiple choices. Okay, he misses the multiple women he's able to have at, you know, at his leisure. Like, I don't know, there's gonna be, you know, again, maybe talking a little bit spicy about that as well. And then the Fool card in the reverse. I think this energy to me is coming up as like him talking about setbacks, like him talking about like, not necessarily about the, you know, because he's already talked about, I believe on IG Live, like some of the hardships that he went through to even get this sixth album out. And so I think he's gonna, you know, but he's gonna talk about like personal setbacks, life setbacks. It could be financial, it could be emotional, mental, psychological setbacks where, you know, again, tapping into this like fear, personal fears that have led him to maybe like not take specific steps, or like be almost like afraid to move, or afraid to take the same risk that he used to take. It's an interesting aspect of his music now, because again, he's way more solidified in his journey as a hip-hop artist, as a rapper, but I think the older that he's gotten, and with the things that he's gone through, like it almost feels like he's more afraid to take risk because of the, like, there's more people involved now that can be impacted. And so it's almost like there's pressure on me, that pressure where he had talked about before, the element of pressure of like, yo, I can't fuck this up. And so I have to be even more calculated in my risk. But part of it is like, you know, when you're so afraid of like the other side of the consequences, whether good or bad, or even neutral, the consequences of your decisions and how it impacts not only you, but the family around you, the friends around you, like that. He's going to talk about that type of shit, and how sometimes it could paralyze you from doing things that you thought you could, you know, step out on a limb and do. This is for also people who like Big Sean. I don't know, like people who vibe and really rock and fans of Big Sean. He gonna be speaking to y'all a lot, because there's definitely fans out there who are going through similar life situations where it's like you're older now, you're a little bit older now. You may have a family, you may have like more responsibility, you could be taking care of parents, you could, you know, just life shit, and you recognize like the risk are greater and graver. The consequences are bigger and even more impactful than, you know, when you were in your 20s and you were a little bit younger and couldn't really, like, you know, you could just go out on a limb and be like, yo, I'm putting all my chips on the line. Like, I don't care. This is all I got. This is all I'm going to do. And things don't work out. And then you gotta, like, the recovery is harder. The recovery is a little bit harder now. And so there's some fear that Big Sean tries to talk about and work through on this Better Me Than You album. All right, y'all, we're now gonna get into what is gonna be the initial impact culturally, socially of Big Sean's album Better You Than Me, okay? Or excuse me, hold up, Better Me Than You, hold up. I gotta make sure I got the name of this correct. Oh my gosh. It's Better Me Than You. Hold up. All right, so let's get into the initial and long-term impact of this album by Big Sean, Better Me Than You. Spirit, show me what is going to be the initial impact, both culturally, socially, or any other ways for Big Sean's sixth studio album, Better Me Than You. What's going to be the initial impact. Thank you. Initial impact. And what's going to be the long-term impact? The long-term impact of this album, culturally, socially, and any other ways, in terms of Big Sean's 6th studio album, Better Me Than You. Better Me Than You. What's the long-term impact? There's going to be a few people who are going to say this is a classic Big Sean album. I think there's going to be a few album cuts that people might be a little bit iffy on initially, but it's almost like people are going to look back on the album. So Ace of Wands in the reverse, 7 of Swords in the reverse. So short-term impact is the Ace of Wands in the reverse. Long-term impact is 7 of Swords in the reverse. Yeah, I think it's interesting. It's going to reveal long-term. Long-term, what I'm picking up, it's going to reveal some truths that people may not be ready to hear. You know, who, child? Americans, child. Americans. And I'm thinking just in terms of like where he's from, how he grew up, like hip hop culture, where hip hop culture is now in American society, child. Lord have mercy. It's definitely not how it used to be. And people may not be ready to hear the truths that are coming through in his lyricism about his personal life shit, you know. The initial impact, this Ace of Wands in reverse is showing that his ideas might not cut through. Like, people are gonna call it timid, lukewarm. Like, those are the words I'm getting. Timid, lukewarm. They're gonna say it's not courageous, it's not brave, that he doesn't take as much risk, right? Like, that's it's interesting that came up, as I mentioned, in terms of themes, like the fears that come up in terms of taking personal risks. It also may reflect in the musicality of the album. He may not be taking as much risk with records. Like, yes, he has Alchemist. I did see in a clip that he may have Kaytranada on there. But Kaytranada is also like really into hip hop, so it may be like a more of a classic type record versus more of like a dance type, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's gonna be interesting. But in terms of, people are gonna say like it's not experimentative enough. It's not like they're putting the way in which socially, culturally, fans, hip hop culture, like, you know, people in hip hop media, whatever. Like, unfortunately, there's going to be comparisons instead of, you know, talking about Big Sean and his standalone kind of career, because he's always going to be sized up and compared among other people in his group or class of hip hop artists that came out around the same time. So of course your Wale's, your J. Cole's, your Kendrick's, your Drake's, so on and so forth, your Meek Mills, etc. Yeah, Big Sean is some people just aren't gonna get the full idea of it. They're just like, I see this as like ideation, right? Like, this is the wand of being able to kind of like This is coming, it's moved from the swords element to something that's more action based, but it's like, it's not gonna get people to move. People aren't going to be as moved by this album, unfortunately. That's going to be the initial. That's going to be the initial impact of this. And then long term, people are not going to receive, it's like they don't want to receive the truth and the truths of the album, the themes of the album that talks about real shit. People who are going to get it, though, are going to get it. And they're really going to take the energy of that, of the messages, right? And so it's gonna help long-term impact. I'm seeing people who listen to this album and who really digest this album and really take the wisdom and the insight and the information from the album are gonna address some truths in their lives, some lies in their lives, some things they've been telling themselves, some fears, some things that they've been either regressing on, or things that they've been lying to themselves about, things that they haven't been honest with themselves about, their fears, things that have gotten away from them, the self-sabotage. This is definitely something here about self-sabotage with the Seven of Swords, of letting things get away from them instead of standing up to certain situations. So the long-term impact, I'm seeing this more as like, this is going to provide help in the mental space, in the self-development space for anyone that listens to this album and really takes some of the messages and nuggets of wisdom from Big Sean's album and try to implement it in their own life, in their own personal life, right? Like just seeing whatever through the visuals, whatever, like that's what's going to come through in terms of long-term impact. But unfortunately, people are going to do what they've done before when it comes to Big Sean. Let's talk about the industry response. Okay. So people within the industry, people that he looks up to, his peers, producers, hip-hop media, businesses, just the music industry in general, other artists who are not in hip-hop, like, you know, how, child, what? I won't be surprised. That's weird. I don't know why I'm picking up on Sweetie, on Chloe. Like, I'm picking up, like, I don't know. He may end up doing, like, I know, you know, I know he's partnered with Jhené Aiko, you know, one of the R&B girlies, but there may be some other R&B artists that come through and want to collab with him. Like, and want to do like an R&B record. Like, and that's not even, it may not necessarily be based off of this album. It may be based off of like previous albums, previous hits that he's had. I'm just seeing another R&B girly or a rap girl want to like collab with him. From this, that may be an industry response from this album, or just the way that he's like been presenting this album. Spirit, show me the industry response. What's the industry response? Hold on, I gotta shuffle this one more time, yeah. Hey. Yes, yes. Whew. Five of Swords in the reverse, okay? Yeah, people are gonna be less shiesty with him. Five of Swords in the reverse and the Hermit in the reverse. Yeah, I think, I mean, he's cemented in the game. Like, I think people try to discount him, but he's cemented in the game. He don't really care too much about the industry shit like that. Like, I'm like, have I ever seen him at a Rockefeller brunch? Like, I'm just like, this man don't be out and about like that, trying to do all this shit. Like, he makes his music, he hangs out with his people, his friends or whatever, and then he be in the house. And so he may be outside more. We're going to talk more about his performances, tour, music videos, events, etc. He's already done, you know, a lot for this album rollout already. I'm seeing that that's going to continue and potentially ramp up. But industry response, I'm getting people are not going to try. There may be one person that may try to amp up a beef with him. Like, that may come through. Whether or not he's going to address it, he may just be like, man, get the fuck up out of here. Like, he may not address it. There may be an industry beef that may amp up following this album, but for the most part, I see people just kind of walking away from trying to fight him, like trying to, or get into, and I mean like a rap beef. I'm like, if there's any kind of like, people may not try to like, it's not worth it, or I ain't getting involved in this shit. He might not even get involved in the shit, but from the industry, this is showing. And this is also showing the industry when it comes to hip hop. It's like the Hermit coming out in the reverse is definitely a signal of people within the industry that is connected to Big Sean in any kind of way. They do not take the time to listen to themselves. They follow what everyone else is doing. Like, they're not taking the time to listen to themselves, to like, it's almost like what I'm seeing is that it's going to be, there's an element here of like younger artists that look up to Big Sean, are struggling to they're struggling to find their own identity in the industry. Like, they're struggling to find their own identity, and so they may look to Big Sean's music and his lane and the way in which he's done music to try to, you know, copycat that, or like find something, a piece of it that they can try to use and try to merge it with their own path. Like, there's something here about within the industry, like people, younger artists coming up who don't want to do or be like how some of these other artists are, just from like bad experiences that they've had and bad encounters. And so they may be looking at Big Sean and his trajectory, how he got put on, how he got with good music, how he did, you know, album with Janae, and, you know, just all the like the steps that he's taken, and trying to see kind of like how they can almost replicate that or try to infuse some of those elements into their own musical path, right? So I'm seeing some inspiration here, that some people are going to be inspired, but there is an element here though of like copycatting. There is an element here of someone like not listening to their own journey, someone not listening to their own self and their own path, and almost trying to emulate Big Sean in a way instead of reflecting back themselves. So you may see someone try to come out like Big Sean. Like someone in the industry is gonna be like, yo, we can do, you know, now you're not gonna make as much money, or you might not be, but you can, you know, it's like somebody trying to finesse it. Somebody out here in that industry, somebody out in that industry is trying to finesse it, where they're trying to remake a Big Sean, which is, that's weird, but that's what I'm picking up as an industry response. Like, it's gonna be like, what the fuck? That's a huge what the fuck. All right, let's get to performances. Let's get to that. All right, let's keep going and talk about performances. Let's talk about it. So some things he's already, I mean, again, album rollout has been consistent, okay? He got singles out, he got music videos out, he got interviews out, he got performances on Jimmy Kimmel, he got merch, like he doing it all. I think it's been reported that he's planning some listening events. He's potentially going to be releasing some extra music on SoundCloud. So like he's really trying to, he's really going to try to promote this thing. Spirit, show me performances. What kind of other performances can we expect from Big Sean and this new album? Tour, music videos, small events, anything, Spirit, you want to bring up in terms of his performances and connecting with fans and promoting his latest new album. Okay. Yeah, I mean, he's just gonna, you know, he's gonna do what he does. He's gonna have a tour. He's gonna have a tour. I don't see him doing like really big venues. He's not about, like, even though, you know, he should be considered like a huge, like, it's like someone, I don't know, like, I'm just like, who is he gonna tour with? That's gonna be interesting. So the Empress in the reverse, the Five of Cups, and the King of Cups in the reverse. Interesting. Okay, we got the Empress in the reverse. There may be some more stop and go. Like, COVID may hit him a little bit harder than he may realize. Let's hope he doesn't get long COVID, child. He said he had COVID a few weeks ago, but he may not have fully recovered. I hope you don't end up in the hospital and have, like, you know, fluid in his chest or something. Like, Spirit should show me, like, I don't know, there's a lot of water energy here, but it's almost showing me, like, prolonged sickness. And I don't like to talk about health shit, so we gonna hope, and we just gonna hope that that shit doesn't come to pass, that he, you know, takes proper care of himself and gets the proper healing to be fully, you know, recuperated from COVID. But he's gonna have to be mindful of that, because that may impact his performances, like him being on the road, him being in like cold places, you know, because like I'm assuming this to be a fall. He's gonna potentially have a fall tour, so September, October time frame. Like it may be like a boom, 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 one thing after the next. The album drop, then the tour dates release, more merch, like another music video. I'm thinking 1 or 2 more music videos, but after that, I mean, it's done. He may put out 1 or 2 more music videos, but after that, he's not putting out no more music videos. I'm seeing smaller performances, more intimate performances. I don't think is he gonna do colors? I don't think he's gonna do colors. But smaller, more intimate, like maybe Amazon interviews. Like, it's just, you know, he's gonna continue with interviews. He may go on, like, I don't see him going on, like, he may do something with like Rob Markman, or I don't see him doing Joe Budden. I don't know. I'm not sure, but I'm not seeing any sort of like big interviews anymore. Like he may you know, do 1 more hip hop interview maybe, but I'm not seeing that really. I feel like he's just gonna try to do the circuit. Like he's gonna try to do the circuit. He wants to do like smaller, more intimate venues where he knows he can like sell out a show. He's going to do more smaller, intimate venues where he knows he can sell out. Not these big ass performance venues where there's like, you know, where he's going to try to oversell, or, you know, like where he won't make his money back. Like he's going to be a bit more calculated in making sure, like, any place that I go, I gotta make sure that, like, you know, people with me. He may tour with Larry June, because Larry June, I don't know if Larry June's gonna be featured on the album, but he may tour with Larry June. It may be like them two. Like he likes like really authentic like hip hop artists, like fellow hip hop, like people who aren't necessarily his peers, because Larry June is a younger artist, and not in terms of age wise, but just like in terms of his in terms of his impact, and I guess the length of time in the industry. But from what I'm seeing, the tours are gonna, the venues are probably gonna be a bit more intimate, where he knows he can sell them out easily, like easily. He may do something like a fan favorite thing, or like he may ask his fans like, what is something that y'all really want me to do while on tour? And it may be something that he'll incorporate in his tour, like just to like big up his fans and to like, you know, create that connection. But again, I just keep hinting, this keeps coming up as like, he got to be mindful of like sickness, illness, health related situations. He needs to be mindful of that. Him, his crew, like people he's going to tour with, people he's going to be around, you know, his team, whatever. Like, it may not necessarily be him, but it's going to be, if it's not him, it's going to be somebody around him. It's just, he just going to have to be mindful of that. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing here with this energy. Yeah, that's all I got from this. All right, let's get into the last segment, the last part. Let's get into the last part of the video where I talk about the future. What's coming up ahead for Big Sean in the future? All right, y'all. All right, last thing we're gonna cover for Big Sean's album. We're gonna talk about the future of his music. Like, what, child, you know, however far ahead you want to look, Spirit, a year, 2 years, 5 years, child. What's the future for, he may put out another album within the next 2 years or so. Like, he's slowing down a little bit though. So I think he's like, he has other projects, like he has other projects coming up, but he's unsure about timing of it. He's unsure about timing, and I think that's kind of where he has other projects, but he's like unsure of like when's the best time to put it out. Hey, yo, Big Sean, if you get this, go talk to an astrologer. Okay, if you see this video, go talk to an astrologer. Get you a good astrologer, okay? Go get you a good astrologer and see when's the best time to put out music, okay? Don't be playing around, child. All right. Spirit. Ooh. What insight can you give us about Big Sean in the future of his music and artistry? Thank you. After this album, Better Me Than You. What an interesting title. He did talk a lot about like, yo, he's like, it is better me than you because I gotta deal with this shit. So it's better if I deal with it than your ass. Like, he's like, yo, I know how to deal with it. I don't trust you to do it. Whoever he was talking about or thinking about, like, he's just like, yo, it's better if I deal with it because your ass don't know how to. Like, it's better that I deal with this shit and not you. Okay, so he got the koi fish spirit. There is always enough. Oh, yes, there is always enough. And transform. The butterfly, the larva of the butterfly. Interesting. You see how the stages before it reaches the metamorphosis of the butterfly. Interesting. There is always enough. Yeah, he's gonna have Spirit saying he's gonna have some rock bottom moments. He's gonna he's gonna have some rock bottom moments. He may pause on music for a little bit, like for a long time. Like he may in the next few years, like he may put out more projects, and then like he may hang it up, man. You may like Spirit's telling me 10, and I'm like 10 years, 10 months. Like what are we thinking of here? But it's him getting more accustomed to the abundance and wealth that he's trying to generate in his life. I think sometimes he has issues of like scarcity. He has, and I think that's like, just as a Black person living in America, living in anywhere in the world, I feel like that is always going to be an element of like feeling like either you're not enough or you don't have enough, or there's not enough for me to be able to take care of my responsibilities. Like he carries a lot on himself. And so the music, right? Because I'm talking about the future of his musicality, but it is tied to some personal themes. But the music in terms of like, yo, can I keep doing this and still generate the abundance, and not even just material abundance, but like, can I still have the fulfillment and the love for it, and the connection and the joy that I get, right? The element, there's that element he has as one of the moods in his album, happiness, that emotion of happiness. And I think part of it is being able to accept that, like, yo, I can create abundance wherever I go, wherever I'm at, wherever I go, wherever I'm at, like I can create that, because that comes from within me, from my ancestors, from spirit. Like, like I'm God manifested, and so I can create all the things that I want to see and more. But it's about self-belief. And so the music he's gonna have to tango with that. Spirit saying he's gonna have to tango with that. He's gonna have to tango with that question of abundance, of me being able to create wealth and abundance, and like that sustainability, like wherever, it don't matter what stage in my life I'm at, I can always recreate it. It may not be at the same height or the same level or the same skill or ability that I once had, or whatever. So it may be musically, he may be going through that. And then again, transform. I mean, again, there's just, again, transform, like, there's changes. Changes, okay? Transform, I mean, it's change happening, transition happening in his music. I think, again, it may symbolize, like, him transitioning out of music, away from music. He may be moving on from hip-hop, like, that's the future, right? Things change, maybe, and this is very open-ended. Like, spirit is not giving me any specific, like, I heard the number 10, but 10 can mean so much. Okay, it can be 10 months, child. You just never know, but it is signaling that, eventually he is going to transition away from probably away from hip hop, or he may be shifting into like more R&B. Like it just this energy is just showing. This is not showing and showing this, and I don't feel this to be energetically an immediate transformation, an immediate change. Both of these cards feel a little bit more passive and not as active in his life right now. Like this is not going to be any kind of immediate surge or shift like this, you know, sudden departure, sudden change. Just feels like a more gradual shift, a more gradual change into where he is, you know, he's shifting away from either from hip hop, either from the type of music that the sound that he's known to have, like just some shifts. It may be him, you know, yeah, completely walking away from hip hop, or him taking a break from hip hop music, him transitioning back to R&B with his partner Janae. It just could be a lot. It could be a lot of shifts and turns, but it's showing to be something gradual, and this is going to be something that is going to be a theme in his music. There's always enough. Like the scarcity mindset, feeling like, damn, you know, how can I get this? How can I keep this type of energy? How do I get this again? You know, hopefully he doesn't try to, you know, how can I recapture, you know, what happened to me in a bottle? It's like some of that shit be lightning in a bottle. Some of that shit is faded. Some of that shit is like, you know, things aligning. And it's like, it kind of reminds me of the reading I did on Nicki Minaj when she was moving into auntie status. I did the reading on her a few years ago, and it was like, you're transitioning, like you're shifting away from being someone who's known as like the top hip hop or like the most popular hip hop artist in the world, in the country. Like you're shifting away from that. There's other hip hop artists, and I'm not even just saying women in hip hop, like there's other hip hop artists that are, you know, it's their time now. It's their time. And so you have to pass the baton. It's time for you to pass the baton and to bow out gracefully. Now, she didn't do that. And so I don't know if this is signaling to Big Sean that, like, you know, nigga, you gonna have to pass the baton and transition out, and like, how are you gonna be? You know, you gonna move into status and like just do your hip hop features and shit and just bow out, or you gonna be like a Nicki? And I don't see that happening at all. Like, just from his personality, he's nothing like Nicki Minaj, even though they did do a song together. Ass. Okay, stop and make the motherfucker make that motherfucker hammer time like go stupid. Okay, I'm done. But yeah, it could be that type of shift, right? Or transition, or it could just be music, things shifting in, you know, musically for him in whatever way. But this feels like energetically a gradual shift, a gradual potentially decline. But this is not happening immediate. This is not anything sudden. All right. All right. All right, y'all. That was my reading. Okay? That was my reading on Big Sean and the music predictions for his 6th album, Better Me Than You, ho. Okay? But not ho on the end. It's just Better Me Than You, okay? I added the ho at the end. Anyways. Thanks so much for tuning in, y'all. Okay? Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Also, I accept tips. Tip your girl, okay? Money that helps me to create more videos for y'all. I thank y'all. Thank y'all for coming back, for tuning in, for supporting. I appreciate the love, the support, And keep watching this space and keep watching this channel, all right? It's your girl Nisi here with Wild Pear Tarot. And I'm gonna catch y'all later. Bye.